You can't know everything about how something is going to go down even, but you can be curious enough to start and curious enough to try. And that's what I really want you guys to take home today, is that be curious enough to try something new. Be curious enough to see how it'll go. All right, welcome back, guys, to another episode of Trust the Process. Today, I wanted to just kind of give you a quick shout out for all the hard work that you guys are doing in your own personal recoveries and your musical journeys. I'm really excited for what you guys have in store and your progress. And today, what I wanted to just talk about really quickly is just the importance of perfection. And you know what? It's not that important. Can you believe it? And yet sometimes as musicians, we tend to confuse excellence with perfection. We do need excellence, right? But we don't need perfection. In fact, perfection is impossible to attain in this life. It's my personal belief. And I just want to help you guys realize and give you guys some examples of how you can relinquish the need for perfection in your life. Because once you do, you're going to be able to live a healthier lifestyle, have a healthier mindset, and be able to live the quality of life that you want to live while becoming a great musician and recovering from your injury, whatever your case may be. And so I want to start off by just kind of setting the stage with a story. So a couple of years ago, before my injury, I was fortunate enough to perform with my school's big band. Actually 2 years ago, almost to the day, we performed with the great Nestor Torres. He is a Latin American jazz flautist and is just a phenomenal person, a phenomenal musician. It was so much fun to get to know him and get to play with him. And he had us play this arrangement that he had done for one of his records a long time ago. That was an arrangement of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And it's obviously a beautiful melody, and he just plays it so beautifully on his record on the flute. And then it kicks up into a samba, and it's just so much fun to play. It was just one of my favorite things ever I've played in a big band, honestly. And I had an interesting conversation with him a couple of days before the performance. May have been the day before the performance, because he had come early to rehearse the band. And he had, I had mentioned to him, "Hey, Mr. Torres, I really love your arrangement, of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I've actually had this idea to arrange a similar tune for anyone who's interested. It's Smile by Charlie Chaplin, in that same kind of style, because I feel like the melody would fit really well with that kind of style." And when I told him that, I also mentioned, but I'm just waiting till I get the the chops to compose and arrange before I start something like that. And he's like, why are you waiting? Just start and figure it out. And I just kind of sat there and thought about it. I'm like, yeah, why don't I? And that was in February of 2022. And it took me until August to start, honestly, just because of how busy I was. But that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. I'm actually finishing that chart now. So, I mean, it's, the gap, there's definitely a gap in when I've been doing this, but I had an interesting conversation with one of my mentors, one of my professors who is now retired, but is a dear friend of mine and a wonderful musician. He's done so much for our community in Utah, in the jazz realm especially. And he told me that he always is, cautious to start something new until he knows exactly how he's going to do it and exactly how it's going to go down. And I'm paraphrasing. That's not exactly what he said, but that was kind of the gist of it. And that kind of just made me think a little bit, made me chew on what he said, because of that experience I had had with Mr. Torres before. It kind of put what my professor said in a different light. And my point is, is that I'm still working on this chart. I'm hoping to finish it up this semester. Composing for me is a hobby that I'm hoping to be able to develop more through my injury recovery. But my point is that you don't have to know everything about a subject or everything about how to do something or how to carry it out perfectly before you actually start it. And that is the thing I want to drive home for you guys today, is that you cannot, first of all, you can't know everything about a subject, right? You can't know everything about how something is going to go down even, but you can be curious enough to start and curious enough to try. And that's what I really want you guys to take home today, is that be curious enough to try something new. Be curious enough to see how it'll go. And another example of this in my own life, I've talked about this many times, but I am primarily a jazz musician. And at my school, a couple of years ago with some buddies of mine, we started a weekly jam session at our school. And I was so excited to do this because it was just another reason and another way to create opportunities to get together and make music, and to cut our teeth on a style of music that we love, right? And it's been interesting to see how different people react in different ways to those types of situations, those types of performing situations, because it's mostly obviously improvisation. But it's also just you getting up in there, having prepared, and seeing what happens. Not being perfect at it. We don't wait until we have all of the dice in or all the ducks in a row. But we try and we see what happens. That's the mentality that I hope everyone would have. And in these jam sessions, what I encourage people to do is obviously to do their homework, right? To learn the tune before they come, but then don't feel like they need to have every aspect of it. They don't have to have it learned in all 12 keys to be able to play it. They just have to have made an honest effort to learn, right? And that's all we can ask of ourselves, I feel like. I wonder how many opportunities we miss when we expect or we wait for perfection to take place, in our lives. And this is just a life principle. This isn't just a musical principle. For those of you who are going through recovery, waiting for you to be 100% ready mentally, I guess, would be the equivalent situation in my mind. Because for me, a lot of times, since I've been going through my recovery, I haven't been ready to take the next step. But thanks to my community and my mentors, like I've talked about in previous episodes, I've been able to take those steps, and sometimes they lead to steps backwards. But the good thing is that they lead to steps. Inaction is the antithesis of excellence, right? And I feel like as you guys, as we strive to look for those more of those opportunities to try something new, that's when you really are going to discover new, beautiful sides of yourself. And so, just kind of finishing up this short, brief episode, I just want to invite you just to relinquish that need for perfection, but also to amp up your curiosity in how things will go. I'm not the most articulate person in expressing how, the things that I want to express. However, I do know that that as you do this, as you look for ways to experience, new things, to be curious about new things, you will grow into a person that you're very, very proud of, and you will be able to find fulfillment in things that you never thought were available to you, and you'll learn new skills. I'll tell you one thing. If I had waited until I had every bit of professional grade equipment, to start this podcast or to start, creating things for you guys to listen to, I still wouldn't be there. But I decided that I was going to go through with this project, and quite honestly, I'm a person of faith, and so I believe that my Heavenly Father lined up a few things for me to make this happen. especially with creating a team or surrounding this project. But the point is that, you know, you start something and then you figure out the finer details later. Now, there is a caveat with this. Me saying all this does not mean that you shouldn't do your homework and you shouldn't be striving to improve as you're starting these new ventures, right? Or as you are revisiting old ones. You know, it does take work and it does take investment, as we've talked about in other episodes as well. But like I said, inaction is the antithesis of excellence. And so it's that preparation and meeting that opportunity. That's I think someone said once that luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? And yet sometimes when we start new things, we kind of give ourselves we don't want to use that as an excuse that we don't have everything figured out. So I'm just going to start it, and it's like, it shouldn't sacrifice quality is what I'm saying. But don't expect perfection in that quality. Just be curious about how it's going to go and always be seeking to improve it as you're going. You know, for example, for me, obviously my lighting equipment is not professional grade right now. I'm about 2 months into recording episodes, but you know, today is the day that I'm going to be looking at purchasing some new equipment for that, because like I said, we need to be looking at ways that we can improve constantly, but not letting the need for perfection to paralyze us. And so thanks everybody for joining me today. I hope that you guys are doing well. You guys are healthy and safe, and going through your lives with a smile on your face, and keep trusting the process, everybody. Take care. Bye. Thanks for listening today. I hope you got as much out of it as I did. Make sure you share this with a musician you care about who is going through injury, a music educator in your life, or anyone just trying to make it in life. If you have a suggestion for a guest or topic to cover, shoot me an email at trustprocesspodcast@gmail.com or send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Before we go, I just want to give a heartfelt thank you and shout out to my team: Daniel Baldwin, who is my audio engineer, Kevin West, who does all music and sound effects for the show, Peyton Womack, our website developer, and my sister, Dana Lovell, who created the logo and promotional materials. We wouldn't have the show without them. So tune in next time for another episode of Trust the Process.